Hello everybody, welcome to my garage slash very messy storage shed. I have some lumber piled up here that a guy brought out here about 10 days or so ago. Thank you again, Mr. Jorshek, for your scrap wood you didn't want. Mr. Jorshek knew that we burn wood in the winter with a wood stove, and he brought over some old paneling, lumber, various types of wood that has been piling up for some time that he needed to get rid of, that he just didn't want to take to the dump. He thought maybe we could burn it and heat our house. When he said scrap wood, I thought he meant maybe cut off ends and whatnot. But once I saw what he had, and I came in here and looked at it, I realized I couldn't burn it. I needed to do something more with it than to burn it because it could go to much better use. I'm not much of a handyman at all, but I decided I was going to spend some of my time this winter using some of this wood to make roosting boxes for the little birds that spend their winters here in Central Virginia. We've got white-breasted nuthatches, little chickadees, ruffed titmouses, they're called. So many of these beautiful little tiny birds. We've got the eastern bluebirds. I've got bird feeders out around the house. They're beautiful. I know they get cold. I want to give them a little bit more shelter than what they might have out here in nature. So I've begun today finally getting around to building some of these bird boxes. The first bird box is dedicated to one of our subscribers named Virg Low. V-I-R-G, they might pronounce it Verge. I know we have subscribers from all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, various parts of Europe, so some of the names are often lost to me as far as pronunciation goes. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but today is Verglow's 65th birthday as of this recording, so this first bird hotel is dedicated to Verg. I hope I don't screw it up too much. Let me show you what I've got going on. Okay. So here's how I do things. I have this strange, crazy way of doing things. I've taken some boards here of various lengths, and what I like to do is when I build anything, is I like to build it in such a way that I have to make the minimal amount of cuts. It's kind of like one of those work smart, not hard, and be creative type things. So in my mind, I'm kind of seeing a way these boards fit together. Now I did take this bit of plywood and cut it in half to have front side and back side. But I'm actually going to attempt to construct the door in such a way that I don't have to make any cuts. So I'll give you another look at all this wood I have to work with. Isn't this just too beautiful to burn? So hopefully I'll get as much of this converted into bird roosting boxes this winter as I can. I mean, he even had some of this, an entire pack of 4 feet long cedar stuff you line closets with, I guess, to make them smell good. All right, now, with no further ado, I'm going to get back at it, and I'll bring you a clip of my progress shortly. Okay, so here we are a few minutes later, and here's where I stand. Let me show you what I've done. And some of this lumber is actually tongue and groove, so there's going to be some cracks and crevices to plug here and there, but it was free wood, and I believe this is going to a good purpose. So I've got my frame. 4 sides, top, bottom. I've got it all nailed together except for one spot. I want to show you, I mentioned making the doorway without having to cut holes. I'm actually going to secure the bottom part of the frame here by nailing on the back side, which I've made out of plywood, and then the front side. Once I get this nailed down onto the boards, this will hold this over, or this will hold this closed. But this is going to allow for a door that does not involve cutting holes. And I want to point something out here. I want to point 2 things out. I've left just enough of a lip on, and I did have to use my saw here to cut this board. I've left just enough of a lip on for the small birds to be able to land on here and then make their way into the bird hotel, but not enough, hopefully, for any predatory birds or animals to get on there and go in there and gobble them up. Secondly, I'm not shortcutting here by leaving the entire bottom open for an entry and exit hole. I'm doing that for safety purposes. A lot of times, folks, well-intentioned folks, will build bird hotels or roosting boxes for the winter, and they have one tiny little hole, and the birds will go in there and pile up on top of each other, and they'll actually suffocate. They'll smother each other. So I'm leaving a wide opening here for enter and or exit so that doesn't happen. If anybody starts to get smothered, they can get out. This will allow more cold air to get in, and it might not retain heat as much as possible, but again, this is going to be the bottom. Heat does rise, so you're going to go up here. But the heat will go up here. Now, but before I can nail this back together, we need to make sure they have a couple of perches in there. So Mr. Jorshek's generous gift of what he thought was scrap lumber, which is going to good use here, actually included a dowel rod. So I'm going to cut this down, get this secured in here, and then get the back on. And we'll be back with that update. Okay guys, it's coming along quite well. The roosts are in. Here's an FYI for the next box I build, because this is just the first of many. Next time I believe I'll offset these so that the birds on top don't poo on the birds beneath, as if they're in upper management and they're the typical employees, common employees, getting, you know, crapped on from senior management. But other than that, it's going okay. I'm going to take the back side and put it on, and then we're going to get something to hook up here so we can tie it off to wherever we're going to put it. And by the way, I explained this overhang so they can land on there and go in the very safe door where many birds can go in and get out, so no suffocation takes place. But I left this overhang so I can actually hang a bird seed feeder from here if I want to. So let me get the back put on, and then we'll go hang this sucker up somewhere where the birds can spend a nice warm night in their new bird hotel. Okay guys, so here I am with my final product. I want to show it to you. You remember I've got my perches in it, so the little birds can go in here and they have a place to perch. Now I decided to hang it in my garden for a couple of reasons. You see there's a big field. You showing the big field up there, honey? There's a lot of natural seed. You see those deer up there? Can you zoom in on those deer? Show them the deer. Can you see them?
Yep.
Okay. We kind of have like been haphazardly constructing like a wildlife refuge here on this part of our property. We don't hunt, we don't allow hunting, but you can see there's a lot of natural bird food in this meadow behind me, from where a lot of the weeds and various plant life has gone to seed. These seeds will stay here all winter. Now, one of my favorite birds is the American goldfinch. It looks like a little yellow parakeet. If you subscribe to our channel and you follow a lot of our videos, you've seen there's times when there's just dozens, if not hundreds of them flying around up here in the field. They stay here in Virginia for the winter. We have what's called a little black junco. These birds are all about the same size and they can very easily fit in here. Okay, so they've got a food source, but what they don't have right here is a place to really stay warm if they're out here feeding on a cold day, or a place to really stay safe from our beautiful cat Cleopatra. We can look out our kitchen window and our view is over here, our wood pile behind us, and in our garden, and I'll see these birds flying around, and I see Miss Cleopatra unfortunately in here trying to have at them. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I left this overhang so I could hang this somewhere and hang a bird feeder here, let them eat here, and then come hotel in here. But actually what I'm going to do is I decided to use this as part of the platform, or I'm going to nail this down. And I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to nail that to the top of that post, and then I've got some line there I'm actually going to tie off to secure it as well. These little birds are tiny. They don't weigh much, so this will hold it. This will give the birds in this part of our property, while they're eating the seed from the hay and the grass, a place to go in here and perch and stay warm when it's cold and when it gets windy. But now before I nail it up, we need to, we're going to dedicate this one, like I said, to one of our subscribers named Verg, who today, as of this recording, is celebrating birthday number 65. So we're going to say, this isn't very creative. I was thinking, should it be Verg's Bird Hotel, Verg's Hostel? I'm going to call it Verg's Birds. Happy birthday, Verg. And again, I hope your name is not pronounced Verge. If it is, happy birthday, Verge. Okay, so now, hang it up. Hey, give me the phone for a second. While I'm nailing this, I'm looking up here. I want to show you, give you a shot of our free-range deer. See them? There's our free-range deer. All these animals are getting so comfortable with us. They probably think we're putting some food out for them, but they're mistaken. Okay, here, hon. Finish this up here real quick. That's probably pretty stable, but just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and tie a... Yeah, that's not really necessary. I think that's going to work, actually. That's all solid boards. So, guys, I think we're done. That's all there is to it. Here is a nice little hotel. Yeah, that's stable as can be. Again, these little tiny birds weigh grams, not even ounces, just grams. So this is going to hold it. And honey, give me the phone for just a second. I want to show you something. Listen, don't let yourself not do this because you think you're not very good at this kind of stuff. I'm not either. I had a big seam right here where these boards came together. There was a gap. Well, fortunately, some of that lumber I had in there was this stripping, whatever you call this stuff. I mean, real guys that watch this stuff knows what this stuff's called. I used a piece of that there, and then I had another piece of it up here for the same reason. So my point of this is, is it pretty? It's probably not the prettiest bird hotel ever made, but is it practical? Yes. Will it serve its purpose? Yes. It's going to provide some warmth and some shelter and a major windbreak for some beautiful little creatures. They're going to have their hands full staying warm and staying out of the wind this winter. So we've done our part, and you saw how much lumber was in there. So as time goes by throughout the winter and I have time available, I'm going to make some more of these and put them up here, there, and everywhere. So thanks for joining us for another video from here at Homesteading Off the Grid, and we'll see you for more next time.